Welcome to NightStoryHQ. Tonight we take you deep into the countryside of England, to a place wrapped in whispers, cold chills, and unanswered questions. The structure is gone now, reduced to ashes long ago, but its legend remains as chilling as ever. This is the tale of Borley Rectory, the most haunted house in England. It began in 1862 when Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull commissioned the building of a grand red brick residence in the quiet village of Borley, Essex. The house was meant to be a peaceful rectory for his large family. Yet almost immediately, strange things began to happen. The site itself was steeped in legend. According to local folklore, centuries earlier, a monk from the nearby monastery had fallen in love with a nun from a convent across the river. When their forbidden relationship was discovered, the monk was hanged, and the nun was said to have been bricked up alive inside the convent walls. Locals whispered that her spirit never moved on, and that the very soil of Borley was cursed. Soon after moving in, Reverend Bull's family began to hear unexplained footsteps in the halls. Servants complained of strange whispers and soft weeping at night. Some claimed to see the spectral figure of a woman dressed in gray, gliding silently through the garden path that would later be known as the Nun's Walk. Despite these unsettling signs, the Bull family remained in the rectory for decades. Reverend Bull himself dismissed the claims, often laughing them off. But for those who stayed in the house longer than a few days, the strange occurrences were no laughing matter. Guests frequently reported eerie sensations, cold spots, a sense of being watched, and doors that opened or closed on their own. After the Reverend's death in 1892, his son, Harry Bull, inherited the house. The paranormal activity persisted. One of the more chilling sightings was again the apparition of the Grey Lady. Witnesses described her as sad-eyed, dressed in an old-fashioned nun's habit, sometimes standing motionless near the trees, other times walking as though searching for something long lost. In 1928, the rectory welcomed new residents, Reverend Lionel Foister, his wife Marianne, and their adopted daughter. Their stay would mark the most active and terrifying period in the rectory's history. Almost immediately, the Foisters experienced a barrage of unexplained activity. Bells rang with no visible source. Windows shattered spontaneously. Objects disappeared and reappeared in different rooms. And perhaps most unnerving of all, writing began to appear on the walls. In chalk or charcoal, scrawled in erratic handwriting, the messages were directed to Marianne. "Marianne, please help me. Don't go. Light, mass, prayers." Marianne herself became the center of the disturbance. She claimed to have been thrown from her bed by invisible hands. She was slapped, scratched, and pushed by an unseen force. Once, during dinner, a heavy bookcase toppled over with no one near it. A cross on the wall spun violently before falling to the floor. The family tried everything. Lionel performed religious blessings and called on the church to intervene. But the activity only seemed to intensify after each attempt to drive it away. One night, a brick flew through the air and narrowly missed Marianne's head. Guests who stayed over rarely lasted more than a night. Word of the haunting spread quickly, eventually drawing the attention of famed paranormal investigator Harry Price. In 1937, Price rented Borley Rectory for a full year, determined to conduct the most detailed ghost investigation the country had ever seen. He assembled a team of researchers, doctors, students, and paranormal enthusiasts who took shifts living in the house, documenting every sound, flicker of light, or chill that could not be explained. They kept detailed logs, held seances, and monitored the environment using the most advanced instruments of the time. The activity they recorded was staggering. Cold spots appeared without reason, objects levitated. Strange knocking sounds came from the walls and floors, often in patterns, as if in response to questions. During one séance, a medium channeled the spirit of a young woman named Marie, believed to be the nun from the legend. Through the medium, the spirit begged for her remains to be found and given a proper burial. She claimed to have been punished for loving a man and that her soul could not rest. On another occasion, a bell rang in the servants' corridor, though that area had been locked and empty for days. Witnesses described shadowy figures moving through the halls, vanishing when followed. One volunteer claimed to have seen a disembodied hand hovering in the air, beckoning before disappearing into the wall. Despite all efforts to uncover a rational explanation, Price's investigation only deepened the mystery. In 1939, tragedy struck. The rectory caught fire under suspicious circumstances while owned by a man named Captain Gregson. He claimed to have knocked over an oil lamp, but some believed the fire was no accident. As the flames consumed the building, neighbors watched from a distance. Some claimed they saw figures dancing in the windows as the structure burned. During cleanup, something shocking was discovered in the cellar. A human skull, partially buried in the dirt. It was believed to be female. Speculation ran wild. Was this the long-lost nun, the one who had been bricked up alive? The skull was eventually given a Christian burial in hopes that it might bring peace to the lingering spirits. And yet, peace never fully returned to Borley. Though the rectory was eventually demolished in 1944, the strange activity persisted. The nearby Borley Church, still standing today, remains a hotspot for unexplained occurrences. Visitors report seeing a veiled woman walking through the churchyard. Unexplained lights appear in the windows at night. Some say they've captured faint voices in audio recordings, soft chanting, Latin prayers, and whispers that seem to say, "Find me." Over the decades, skeptics have tried to debunk the Borley hauntings. Some suggested that Marianne fabricated much of the story, possibly to hide her extramarital affair. Others accused Harry Price of manipulating evidence to sell books and gain fame. And it's true, there were inconsistencies in some testimonies. But then there are the dozens, even hundreds of reports from people who never met each other, who never stood to gain anything from sharing their stories. Independent witnesses described the same gray lady, the same whispers, the same sense of overwhelming dread. Visitors who knew nothing about the rectory's past walked away forever changed. Skeptics offer natural explanations, old pipes groaning, wind through the windows, rodents in the walls. But they can't explain the human bones, or the written messages begging for help, or the identical ghostly sightings across decades. The story of Borley Rectory has inspired books, films, documentaries, and paranormal investigations around the world. It has become a symbol of the thin line between the known and the unknown, between reason and belief. Was it truly haunted, or was it the perfect storm of superstition, psychology, and coincidence? Perhaps the most chilling possibility is this, that Borley Rectory was not haunted by ghosts in the traditional sense, but by memories, by sorrow, by unresolved pain echoing through the centuries. That the walls absorbed every tear, every scream, every prayer whispered in fear. And even when the walls came down, those echoes remained, drifting on the wind, lingering in the trees, waiting for someone to listen. And now, you've listened. The house may be gone, but the legend lives on, in candlelit whispers, in foggy graveyards, and in every creak of an old floorboard in the dead of night. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of the most infamous hauntings in history. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe to NightStoryHQ for more true tales of the eerie, the unexplained, and the supernatural. Until next time, sleep with the lights on. And remember, some houses may be gone, but their stories never die. This is NightStoryHQ signing off.